If you go to our website and read the section on About, you will get to know my background, my faculty as a professor in business, an entrepreneur, an author. I published the entire Quran in from Arabic into contemporary American English, and introducing this Substack and the podcast. This podcast is really about the convergence of justice, truth, goodness, and faith. In my view, we look at the world today, whether it's a country, region, individual, family, communities, we can put everyone in a 2x2 matrix. On one hand is the condition of your mind, your disposition. Do you have faith in God, faith in goodness, or you have no faith? And in terms of action, either you do good work, you are good, or you do evil work, or evil. And obviously these are not one or the other. There's sometimes a whole spectrum. And as God said in the Quran, nobody's perfect. And we know that. Every one of us have flaws in us. So it's a predominance of one or the other. So if you put the simple 2x2 matrix, you get 4 quadrants. The quadrant that I'm interested in, I really like to think that I'm in that quadrant, is that one who has faith, one who does good work. That's the faith, that's the group, that's the quadrant I want to align with. Having said that, there are people who may not have faith or do not profess faith openly, or perhaps agnostic or a denial, an atheist, but they're good people. They want to do good things in this world. That's the quadrant number 2, and I'm also with them. The third and the fourth quadrant is where we really have challenges in the world today. Those who do evil in the name of faith or in the absence of faith. And in particular, the quadrant number 4, where faith and evil is commingling in a way that has not been seen for quite some time. And that's the group that is really causing way too much havoc in the world today. And I don't have to give you an example. Each one of you, as you're listening, understand where I'm coming from. And that's what the Quran also says. What kind of faith is it that commands you to do evil thing? So that's basically where my mind is. That's where I'm hoping that this podcast will continue to explore, ask tough questions, and share thoughts with you all. Let me go to the next slide. I'm still learning how to do this thing. So here comes this foundational pillar, I call it faith, goodness, truth, and justice. Faith to me is the foundation. It's somewhat innate in the sense that it's hidden, it's subconscious, it's your belief, it's your disposition, and the belief in God, but also belief in goodness. Even though goodness could exist without faith, and I'll admit that, and I think I've got a lot of friends who are good people, but don't necessarily have faith in the way that I profess my faith. By faith, I also mean not necessarily a particular religion. It's really about your condition of your heart and your mind and how you look at the world. And I do believe that people from different faith, Muslim, Jews, Christians, Hindus, and others, there are good people in each religion. There are also bad people in each religion. So I'm not talking about a particular religion. I'm talking about faith as a foundational pillar. And so that becomes the foundation. And then you have the goodness and the truth. Those are the means in action. And you can observe those. Is somebody doing good things? Is somebody telling the truth? We live in a world today where truth has been uprooted, falsehood, alternative narrative has taken over, and in the mainstream, in the governments, in our public square, and that's quite alarming. In our technology, the way the social media feeds on falsehood, through algorithm and through coercive technology and whatnot. But fitness, goodness, and truth is really the one that provides us the mechanism to create justice. And justice is really the outcome we're looking for. It should be measurable. Justice in all sense, justice as a human being in terms of freedom, liberty, pursuit of happiness, justice in terms of economics, justice in terms of politics. All sphere of human justice is what really the outcome that we are seeking. Let me go to the next slide. So one could look into each of those four pillars, and we can define all of these elements in some form. I recently heard Tucker Carlson had given about 10 different concepts, and you could find all of them into this four foundational pillar that I am trying to propose and encourage conversation and debates around. And you can read each of these words. I don't want to go into the detail, but you get the point. And then I'm going to go to my last slide, which I think could provide some perspective where I'm coming from. In the Quran, God talks about that he makes this announcement to the angels that he's going to create Adam and Eve, and by that, humanity. And he would like to establish his Khalifa, stewardship, agency on this earth. I know that this word Khalifa has been taken out of context, and a lot of conversation happens around it, but truly the Khalifa implies agency of God on this earth. And I think it's important to understand that God didn't say, I want to put human being on earth. He didn't put, I want to put faithful people on earth. He said, I want to put Khalifa, somebody who's going to act on my behalf, do God's will. I think that's what's important. And so it's much bigger than faith itself. It's a person of faith who is also committed to follow through God's will. And I think that's the challenge. And too often people are misreading many of the divine revelation, whether it's in the Quran, in the Torah, and the Bible. Next, there are a couple of words, salam, iman, and taqwa has been put into the Quran way too many times, and people don't fully understand, I think, in my humble opinion, the differences between salam and iman and taqwa, faith, and a committed person who is responsible to carry out God's will is what taqwa is all about. And I will get into some of those things in the future. A sound goodness is literally the foundation of faith in human society. Goodness in everything, everyone, everywhere, every time. And curtailment of evil is also ihsan, goodness. Haq is the truth. God says in the Quran that everything has been created on the foundation of truth. And denial of truth, advancing falsehood, is really contrary to the natural order of things. Unless you can innately feel what truth is. And I think every one of us have the innate ability to know when falsehood is being propagated, because it doesn't resonate with us. And the last concept is adl, which is the justice, establishing the society for all time, for everyone, for everything, even living and non-living entities on this earth, economic, social, political, familial, in relationship, in education, in economics, right? Every sphere of human activity, there has to be justice. So those are the basic framework on which I would like to introduce this podcast. And I'm hoping that we'll, in the coming days and weeks, we'll continue to unfold and engage in meaningful conversations. And I really want to thank you for listening in and sharing this with others. And do stay tuned for the next episode.